This is Bailie from the Rising Tide Leadership Podcast, POV Gen Z. And today we are talking about true friendship. I'm here with my mentor, Mo, who helps me and you with all of our relationship problems. Hey, Mo.
Hey, what's up? Let's do it.
So I was kind of thinking today, or not today, but I was thinking about all the kind of different friendships I've had growing up. And I feel like I've had kind of I made a name for each of them just so that I could like put them in categories, just so that you can kind of see what that friendship like was for me, I guess. So like I have Rach, she was like the role model friend. I have Sarah, who's like the safety friend. Um, Nicole, she was like the fixer. Everything I messed up with, she cleaned up for me, like made everything better. She smoothed everything over. I had a friend named Lauren who was a challenger. Everything I said, she would like rebuttal. And lastly, I have a friend named Loho. Her name is Lauren Hobbs, and we call her Loho, just so no one gets confused. But yeah, she is like my woo. So she's like always, she's right there with me, like cheering everyone on. And I was thinking through all these friendships and all the different kinds and trying to realize or trying to see what my role was for them in return. And I was wondering if they considered what we had true friendship, because I know a lot of people have different definitions of what friendship means to them. And I have friends who think that they have to know your deepest, darkest secrets to have true friendship. I have friends who think they need to experience adrenaline with you or like do something like bad with you, like getting into trouble together or whatever the case is. I also have friends who think that being your biggest cheerleader is lying and that you should be challenging one another all the time and making sure that, iron sharpening iron type thing. So I have a lot of questions about friendship. I have messed up multiple times with friends. I have been hurt multiple times by friends. And I just want to know what true friendship really is and how I can be the best friend possible.
Yeah, that's a
Is
great
that a bad
question.
question?
No, that's a great question. I was actually when you said that, I was thinking about all my friendships over the years. And when you say true friendship, I'll start out with my favorite story about you and friendship, about when you were at the beach. Actually, I'm going to let you tell it. So why don't you tell the story
Okay.
about, because
Okay.
I don't want to mess it up. And I love your dad. Your dad should be here to actually tell the story, because I think
I
he's the one
know.
who witnessed it. But why don't you tell the story about one of your very first best friends in life? How old were you? Where were
Mm-hmm.
you? What was the
Mm-hmm.
circumstance?
So I'll never forget, I was like 5 years old. We were going to Maui. It was a big family trip. We get to Maui and we're so excited. And I'm a daddy's girl. Like I would always do things with my dad. We're besties. And he was like, "Do you want to go snorkeling with me tomorrow morning?" And I was like, "Yes, of course I do." And I'm like 5. Like I've never been snorkeling ever in my whole life. And my sister and my mom are like, "No, we don't want to go. Like, we'll rather like just be getting breakfast or something." So me and my dad wake up early and we go snorkeling down at like one of the Kawana Kikiki or whatever it is. And, I can't do it. I can't snorkel. Like water keeps getting in my nose, water keeps getting in my mouth. I'm like unable. I'm unable to do it. So my dad's like, okay, no problem. Just like sit over there and like I'm gonna go snorkel for a bit and then I'll come back and get you. And I was like, okay,
Good
sounds good.
parenting.
And I don't know if I was like with these people before he had left or whatever, but I was with this one family. And it was me and these 2 little girls that were around my same age, and we were having the time of our lives. We were practicing cheerleading. We were doing tumbling routines. Those like, the pyramid, like where you like literally get on top of one another to like
Oh yeah,
form a pyramid. Yes.
absolutely.
So I'm on the top. These two sisters are like on the ground. I'm like on the top. I'm like waving to my dad as he's snorkeling. and he gets out of the water. It's like done, probably like a couple hours go by. And I introduced these girls to my dad saying like, these are my new best friends. And ever since then, it's like I've always gotten like bullied by my family by saying like, oh, this is my best friend Loho. And they're like, oh, really? Is that like your new best friend? Because I called these girls I knew for like 3 hours my best friends. So yeah, that story never dies, unfortunately.
So the reason I wanted you to tell that story is because that is true friendship. There's no preconceived notions. There was nothing you needed from these girls. You were just doing what you do, which is being you. There's nothing that you needed. You were just there specifically to have a good time, have fun. You were encouraging these little girls. I'm sure they were encouraging you. You were just friends. And so, like, that's what I want to open with is true friendship doesn't really it doesn't even really need to have a label. Now we all have best friends. I've had a couple different best friends in my life. I remember my best friend Justin when I was growing up. He was actually probably my very first best friend because he was actually born a year before me. Our families lived across the street from each other. I didn't ever not know him and his brother, and so he had an older brother than my younger brother was born. And so it was just kind of like the four of us, and we did a whole bunch of things. I didn't know anything about friendship. All I knew is this was the kid that I hang out with. We were in the same grade. We were in the same classes. We were on the same sports teams. Our families have barbecues every Friday. We were either over at their house, barbecuing chicken, or they were over at our house. We both had pools, so we were swimming at somebody's house. Every picture that you see of me with somebody when I was younger was with this kid, Justin. We still know each other today. He's married, has kids. I'm doing my own thing. We've both moved on, but we still connect every now and again. At the very least, every year on each of our birthdays, we'll reach out and call each other old, which is hilarious because when we were kids, we looked at our parents who were only in their 30s and we just thought, man, these people are so old. And then I
What a
remember
geezer.
when I know, and I remember when my dad turned 40, and I was like, holy cow, like man, like what an old guy. And then when I turned 40 a few years ago, I was thinking, am I really that old? And the question is, well, and the answer is, well, yes, I don't act that way, obviously, but you know, if I had hair, it would probably be gray, and but I still have the same friends since that time. I've had other really close friendships, and I've probably had, Bailie, 4 or 5 what you would call best friends, if that. I mean, that's really stretching it. So when I do relationships now, when I do leadership now,
Mm.
I love talking to people about friendship because if you can find good friends, hold on to those friends. Now that's counterintuitive to everything that Bailie knows because Bailie is in the moment and her best friend is whoever's in front of her. And the girl might be just like her, might be completely different, but Bailie really sees you as her best friend. And it's real. And so we talk a lot about being real. My question for somebody who's Gen Z, who's a young person who has your a fervor for life and wanting to do things right, what do you see in the friendships that you've had over the years? Tell me a story about when you really met somebody and said, "Wow, this girl, she's a best friend to me." What did that mean to you?
Yeah, that's such a good question because there have been so many times where I have thought that, and then we weren't compatible. We weren't super compatible as friends. So we just kept letting each other down, which was just such a bummer because you don't want to let your friend down. You want the best for them. So I think I've learned so many life lessons just with friendships over the years, but one in particular just like sticks out to me just because she really crept up on me. She wasn't somebody who I immediately thought, which is so normal for me to be like, that's gonna be my best friend. Because I'll be in a crowd and I'll like know who's gonna be my best friend. Like I just know the vibes are vibing type thing. Um, but There's this girl, Sarah, who's my roommate now, who I absolutely adore. And she has shown me what true friendship I think really is, because not only does she listen to every ranting session I could ever have, she is not similar to me either. Like she's more introverted. She's a scientist. I'm nowhere near that. Like she is extremely loyal, confident, does not like she is a bolt. And I've learned so much from her because I want to be that way and not be loose-lipped and not I've learned so much from her. But the difference with her is we haven't gotten into an argument before. And I think in my head, that is something that I find important, which is weird because I feel like that's the exact opposite of what you're going to say. It's something I find like helpful for me safety wise, because it's always been really difficult for me to find somebody that I feel safe with when it comes to friends. I either feel like they're going to share the information with other people or that they're just not going to get it at all. They are nowhere near like the same like wavelength as me, so what's the point of even saying it at all? She's somebody who listens, and I have not really had that before as a friend. And it's everything. It changes everything, because when you know someone will listen to you, then you actually want to talk with them, and it just makes your time that much sweeter together. So yeah, I can talk about times I was not a good friend for 25,000 episodes of this, but Sarah is just someone who has really stuck out to me because it's been a successful friendship that we're not the same. So I always kind of thought I was getting down on myself because I was thinking maybe I just can't be friends with people that aren't like me, because they seem to get so mad at me. I don't want to make my friends mad. Like that sucks. I want to make my friends happy and like feel good about our friendship. So it took me a second to vet people a little bit, not vet, I use that very lightly, but at least just like a little bit, and to see that way I would avoid pain and hardship, because I've had so many friendships end. So yeah, I don't even know where I'm going with this. Where am I going with this?
So you're saying that you do like conflict because it helps you learn a
No,
little bit more?
exact opposite.
Okay,
Exact
okay.
opposite.
So
I
you
think
do
that
not like, you don't like
yeah,
conflict. Okay.
I don't. And I can bring up my friend Lauren, who I would totally describe her as like a challenger. I remember like I will bring up things I'm struggling with, ideas that I thought were like exciting to me, and she would always kind of come back with a rebuttal to my thought process. I feel like Rach is a little bit similar to that. She tries to be more mysterious than Lauren is, but I can read her, so it's just I know her too well, I just know. But me and Lauren have had a lot of difficult conversations throughout the past 3 years of being friends, and it's been challenging. It's not easy. Um I don't I love her. And wait, let me get this right. I don't want to say this wrong. Lauren has given me a lot of things to think about, and it's been incredible because I get to think about the other side of things that I don't normally think of, which is awesome. But I find that I'm not as freely speaking when somebody isn't just listening to me. The same thing would happen with my mom. My mom would always be so quick to like chime in and give her opinion on things. And I love her to death, but I'd be like, Mom, can you just listen to this story? Like, I don't really want you to I just want to vent, I just want somebody to hear me. And I think that's something that Sarah does really well, and something that I try to learn from her, because I want people to feel heard just as much as Sarah makes me feel heard.
So what happens when you and Sarah have a conflict?
We haven't yet.
We're just going to keep it there?
I think something that So Sarah and I are crossing paths a lot more nowadays because our boyfriends are like really good friends, best friends. And so now we are in the same social circle. We hang out on the weekends quite frequently. And we know each other so well that I don't even expect her to act like how I would act in situations because I know Sarah. Sarah's not gonna come into a party and be like the center of attention. That's her worst nightmare. That's her actual worst nightmare. She wants to blend in. She wants to come into the crowd. Like she's a prompt person. I always have to tell her, don't get there right at 7. If the party starts at 7, get there at 7:30 because you're going to die there because you're going to have to talk to every single human being and you're going to hate it. So like we are so opposite. So I think it's just because we both don't expect things from each other. We don't put expectations on one another. I think that's truly it. I'm so grateful for anything she does for me. I feel so I can't say thank you enough. Like I feel so rewarded for her friendship with me. And so I guess that leads me into my next question, which is should you have expectations for your friends? And if you realize that you do and they're so high, isn't disappointment inevitable? Like I feel like there's not a win in that solution. Like why wouldn't you just have low expectations for your friends and then always be excited that they surpassed it?
Well, when you start in a relationship with somebody in a friendship, you can have low expectations. Like if you're out, just you meet somebody and you're at a, like you said, you meet somebody at a party or on a sports team or in school or whatever. But I think expectations do grow as we get deeper into relationship, and I think what we've been talking about for a long time is that fact of conflict with you. I know you
Hmm.
don't like that. So how do you get deeper? You know, David Brooks says in The Road to Character that friendship is about holding each other accountable and having the difficult conversations and having the same kind of moral and ethical expectations and being able to call somebody out on that. And so what I tell young people all the time is who is it that's going to call you out on those things? So if you don't want Sarah to be that person, for instance, right now, who is that person in your life? Do you have those kind of people in your life? We all need those kind of people, which I would call
Why?
the inner
Okay, go ahead.
circle,
I'm sorry.
right? Like
Yes.
I've got the inner circle. I've got people in my life that tell me, what's going on. I actually seek that out. The older I get, the fewer good friends that I have, but the good friends that I have are incredible friends, and I can put those people in a very small and intimate group in my life, but those people can speak into my life. So is that how you like things, where it's compartmentalized, and so you want your friends that you can just have a good time with and just be carefree, and then you want like where did the friends that challenge you come into play?
That's a difficult question because I feel like I haven't been able to find a friend who has been able to challenge me in a way that doesn't give their opinion because that's kind of what breaks the safety, at least for me, when I know that I've seen firsthand me give my opinion to somebody else and it just totally break the safety and confidence that they have in me. So it's difficult because I know that these friends love me, like Lauren and Rachel are such great examples. I know that both of them love me so much, but it is more difficult when they maybe ask a question that is more challenging than somebody like Loho that would just like cheer me on. And I think I struggle with that because I'm already this is where I get confused with our beliefs too, Mo, is like I thought that we were supposed to always have cheerleaders in our life. Like I thought everyone was supposed to just be rooting us on. We have enough people that are talking bad about us. We have enough people that are like saying no to what we want to do. So like how do you like for me, if I was to say I want all my friends to be cheerleaders, then I could have a mentor like you who just says, "What are you doing? Like you're screwing it up. And that's kind of what that's what I prefer that if somebody is, yeah, I prefer a cheerleader as a friend. And I don't know if it's possible to have a best friend also be your accountability partner because it causes too much strife. Or maybe that's just me. Maybe because I don't know. Like, I don't understand how you can possibly have a best friend that constantly is always opposite of you and sharing that opinion with you and you not get frustrated. Same with me to them. Like, I remember I would tell Rach, gosh, just have fun with it. Just have fun with it. Oh my gosh, Rach, what do you mean? Just have fun. It's your last year of swimming. You're gonna have the best year. She would be pissed at me because she was like, don't you know me better? I don't care about having fun. I just want to do well. Like, I want to succeed and I want all of this to have had purpose and meaning. And yeah, so I get it both ways. Why would they want to be friends with me even? Because I caused them to get frustrated.
You do need more cheerleaders in your life. Yes, I would say that. What I am alluding to most of the time when I say that is the outside noise from people who have their opinions about your life and trying to tell you what to do, who have no idea what's going on in your life. So when somebody were to tell me how to coach, but I didn't know who they were, I don't care what they have to say. I'm doing my best. And the only thing you should be doing is focusing on yourself. And if you don't have anything nice to say to me, don't say anything at all. John Maxwell would say in the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth that we do need to have friends who push us outside of the comfort zone. Again, the inner circle. And so, yes, you can have people who are older and have more experience and wisdom than you to be part of that inner circle. So for you, you said that I'm part of your inner circle. That's great. But who are the people that are on that level with you, that are doing life with you, who are part of that inner circle? Because we need both. We need people who, because I don't know what you're doing every day. We talk once a week. We text every now and again or whatever, and that's not very much.
Right.
But you've got friends in your life that know what's going on, and in that circle, there should be people or a person or two who are friends that push you outside of your comfort zone. So do you have that?
Well, yes, like I can always go back to Sarah because I don't know how she does it. She makes me feel safe. She asks me questions when she might not necessarily agree with what I'm saying and doesn't make me feel weird about it. Like, she doesn't make me feel bad about having an opinion or an experience. She's just truly curious about another perspective. And I think that's helpful for me when somebody is truly curious instead of assuming that they know the right answer and that I'm just like in la la land, not knowing what I'm doing all the time, which is fair for people to think because that is a lot of the time where I am. But I think it comes back to when we talk about asking people questions to help get them there rather than just telling them the answer. Sarah does a really good job at that, helping me understand why I even feel the way I do so that I can get to maybe a more responsible answer. So, yeah, I think that's the difference. And that's what I want to try and be to my friends that are different than me too, because I'm sure Lauren gets so frustrated with me when I'm just like trying to like cheer her on and she's like, no, like, can you stop? Like, I just want you to like tell me your opinion or whatever the case is. But it's hard because I've been hurt by that kind of experience. So I don't want to do that for someone else and make it wrong or it's like walking on eggshells. There's always like, when you challenge somebody, I feel like it's easier to like step on an egg than it is if you do, or to just cheerlead them on. There's more risk to the relationship. And that scares me because I love my friends and I don't want them to be frustrated. That's the last thing I want them to be. I want them to be like feel safe with me and feel like I understand where they're coming from and like walk through different scenarios with them. I don't want them to feel like on eggshells. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it sounds to me like you are encouraged and also challenged in different ways. And if somebody like Sarah, who can keep a positive attitude and relationship and not push you too hard, works and helps you to grow, that's great. But you're right. I think that there's a lot of a lot of friendships that I've seen you go through where people would say, "No, I want to challenge more," and you're like, I don't really want to do that. So, is whatever it takes for people to get challenged, they need to do that. And so, with
Mhm.
these people that want to be in that kind of relationship with you, but that's not going to work. Are you straight up about that in the beginning? Not like
Mhm.
not like the first day you ever meet. Like, "Hey, I don't want to be challenged by you, so just so you know." But you know, how do you not get too deep into a relationship where somebody thinks, "Well, why aren't we challenging and pushing each other? And we're such good friends." And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden it's like that's when people start to get hurt because it's like, well, so you don't want to be close to me? You don't want to challenge me? You don't want me to challenge you? So it's all right.
So, like, how do you establish those boundaries? Because, like, this kind of reminds me of how when the first thing we talked about was in the examples, I have Rach as a role model friend, Sarah as my safety friend, and Loho as the woo friend. Let's just take those three. The role model, the safety, and the woo. What happens if this actually did happen? I don't even have to make a scenario for it. I remember I told Rach, I was like, we have a sister relationship. We have a sister relationship, and I feel like me and who did I say? I can't even remember. Maybe it was Camden. I don't even know. I was like, me and Rach have a sister relationship, and me and Camden have a best friend relationship. Rach was like, I don't want to be the sister. Like, I don't want to be the sister in like this friendship. Like, I don't want to be your sister. I want to be like the fun friend, you know? And she wanted to be in a different category than what I had put her in my head. And sometimes it would work because we would have the best times together. Like it was a blast. Like me and her could bring the house down. Like we loved hanging out in that way. What like at the end of the day, she was my role model friend. She was somebody I looked up to and really used as a standard in my life. So, how do you if somebody doesn't want to be in that category, what do you do? Like are you able to what do you do?
So have we read the book Boundaries by Townsend and Cloud yet?
No.
Okay. I've spoken about it before. That's a book that you want to get because it will help you to understand how to categorize relationships. And so if you take the three categories that they talk about in that book, Boundaries, there are casual fl- there are casual friends, close friends, and intimate friends. You do great with the casual friend category. That's just people that you meet every day. You see them at work. They're people that you can drink a cup of coffee with or meet to go have, sushi after work or whatever. Close friends is kind of the next step up where you um, talk about different kind of things with these people. You spend more time with them. You have stronger connections. You might ask people for advice and engage in those kind of conversations. That sounds like a lot of the friends that you get to that place with a lot of your friends, Bailie. The intimate friend category, I think, is the one that has scared you off in the past, which is it's where you get to that deeper level of emotional connection. And I don't think that you have really liked that word emotional over the past years because that's when people want you to share open and honest, mutual support for the deep dark secrets, strengths, weaknesses, fears, all those kind of things, your dreams. And from what I know of you, you hold that for a very, very select few. So is anybody in that intimate category for you, or have they been?
Yeah, it's so funny that you think that about me because I see it now, but I feel like I feel like I'm more selective now than I was when I was younger. I was an open book. If anybody wanted to know anything about me, I was like, "Yep, let's do it." I felt so I felt like I felt like that was my biggest problem. I had 0 boundaries. I had 0 guards up. I was best friends with everybody immediately, and that's what ended in disaster. I am more selective now about, like, my dreams and aspirations and, like, things that I've always wanted to do, haven't really decided to do. There are things that Sarah has been helping me with for, like, a year and a half now, and I've gotten maybe 2% closer to my goal because I can't like, it scares me. I don't wanna do it anymore. I get too fickle, then it's like, "Wait, but you've always wanted this." It's like someone who's consistently like, "Hey, did you do it? Did you get 1 inch closer?" That is Sarah for me, which is so helpful because I don't feel pressure from her. I also don't feel like she still has some sort of, like, authority-ish in that area of my life. But I think back to times when I didn't have those boundaries at all, and I feel scarred. I feel like I have been traumatized a little bit from and that's probably really a lot, but it's just hard for me. It's hard for me to open up to people because, 1, I feel like they don't even care. They're not even listening in the first place. And second of all, what if they make fun of it or have a certain opinion about it or whatever the case is? I always get down on myself with those kinds of situations. So that's why it has been helpful for me to have friends who cherish the cheerleading part first. That way it makes me feel safe and I can open up about those things later on in our friendship. But if you don't show me that you care at all and you are not listening, I don't really see what the point of bringing the relationship to intimate is. So, are you saying that it's better if I become more intimate with, like, multiple of my friends? Or is it like, what would be an ideal situation then?
Yeah, I think you have a lot of close friends. Even when you were younger and you say, I was an open book, even if you told people your dreams and aspirations and all those kind of things, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're in the intimate category. Because again, the intimate category, I think, has more to do with the emotional investment. What is it that scares you about it having the emotional investment? Because even when you just said about Sarah pushing you, you said that there, what I hear you saying is there's a high level of flexibility. That's part of the close friend category. If I'm trying to be specific about the categories just for the sake of definitions,
Right.
the intimate friendships that you would have would still have flexibility, obviously, because you want to make sure that there are those boundaries. That's what the book is all about creating boundaries. But people who are in the intimate friendship zone, you're at such a high level of emotional investment that you do have to really be careful about how you maintain the relationship, or else it'll just explode. Because they're the ones pushing you forward and pushing you to get better.
Mhm.
I try my very best not to give advice at all ever, but the people who are in the intimate category have earned my advice. I know that sounds funny. Most people are just like, most people just give their advice and nobody wants it. I want to be the opposite. I want to be in a position with some of the relationships that I have today, even though I don't talk to people all the time, I do have the intimate status with that, meaning the emotional investment, the time that's been put in.
Mhm.
Take our relationship,
Mhm.
Bailie. We talked every day for like 4 years. And then over the years, we've talked a lot and a little and a lot and a little. But I don't think that emotional investment has gone down. If
No.
anything, it's stayed the same or continued to go up because we are carefully maintaining the relationship. My job is to maintain the level of intimacy with all my friends, all the men and women in my life at some kind of level so that I could be the kind of friend that keeps a healthy relationship with them. That's why I'm asking you, what does it take for one of your friends to move from the close friend to the intimate friend status?
I feel like people, now that you're saying it that way, emotional investment. I feel like I have been that way for a lot of people, but I haven't had that be reciprocated because I haven't allowed them in all the way. I've kind of kept an arm's distance, but been their like support, which is probably why people get mad at me because I know all of their deepest, darkest secrets and they don't know any of mine. But to me, I feel like I don't have any. Like, I'm the most regular, average person like on the planet. I feel like I don't have any like deep, emotional, dark secrets. Like, unfortunately, so many people that I know have been through awful, awful, horrendous things. And I am so grateful that I get to be there for them through that journey. But I don't really feel like I have as much. This reminds me of when I told you in college, I was like, yeah, my life is pretty great. Everything kind of just like works out the way it does. And you were like, why do you think your life is so good? And I was like, that's such a good question. I have no idea. I guess because like nothing like super terrible has happened. Like, I guess that's the reason. But yeah, I mean, I guess I need to ask you first. What is what is an intimate friendship, and how, like, you were talking about definitions of both close and casual, close and intimate friendships. What is the definition of an intimate friendship? Because I don't even know what that is anymore. I thought that every single one of my friendships was intimate, so now I'm confused.
Emotional connection, trust, vulnerability, openness, honesty, mutual support. Now we're talking about weaknesses and fears, things that we want to be, things that we don't think ever will be. It's that emotional investment that really stretches the boundary. That's different than a close relationship that has a higher level of flexibility where you can just at any time say, we'll talk about that another time. That's the difference between a close friend and an intimate friend.
So a close friend would not push you on something. Like, can you give me an example?
Well, just like you said with Sarah, you've been working on something and there's been 2% growth
Yeah,
over the past year or
true.
whatever. An
Yes.
intimate friend would say, Bailie, I know we've been working on this for a year. Why are we still only at 2%? What's holding you back? Do you
She
not want to
asks
get
me that. She asks me that
okay?
question,
And then what?
and I don't really have an answer for her. I say
Right.
like, I don't know why, because I
And
don't
then
know if I really want to do it or if I do or blah 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 blah.
then you would get to, well, then what is holding you back then? What are the fears? What are the things that are causing you to think that you can't figure that out? Those are the questions that intimate friends talk about. Those are the deep things. Those are the things that get to the core, to the spiritual piece of you. It's not just kicking the can down the road. In my
Yeah.
intimate friendships, I don't kick the can down the road. I ask the hard questions and vice versa. Whatever you and Sarah have been working on for a year and got 2%. The question is, well, what does it take for you to move up? Because if you want to get better, and we should all be wanting to get better for the sake of both ourselves and others, who can push you in those categories? That's the
That
difference.
is, I am mind blown currently. But how do you have friends that challenge you in a way that doesn't make you frustrated? Like, have you gotten frustrated with close friends of yours that have maybe pushed the button a little bit too far?
I'm usually frustrated with myself because now I've one of my favorite things that I've ever done is when I graduated from seminary, Kevin and I both went up to San Francisco to this Christian retreat center. And both of us, we went through all these tests and learned all this stuff about ourselves. Like, I mean, things you didn't even know about yourself. Like they're asking you about your mom and your
Oh
dad, and
my
like
gosh, I want
it
to go.
was crazy. It was insane. I'll look and see what it.
I think
I
I'd
can,
make it out alive.
I don't think most people would today, but it was great. I've learned to invite the hard questions. I'm not saying, Bailie, that there's like 20 or 30 people. I'm not saying that at all. I told you, my inner circle is definitely less than two hands,
Mhm.
maybe on one at any given time. And it's tough to get to the intimate friendship category, but I think we all need that. My question is for you, I've known you to have a lot of close friends. I don't, unless I was wrong, I didn't see any of them that got into the intimate part where you are just really diving deep. And do you want that? And if you don't, that's part of the process saying, I don't want that. Okay. At least we know that now. But maybe you do want
Right.
it. You haven't found the right friend for that.
Well, I'm struggling right now because I don't even know what that looks like. I can't even picture it because every single girl that I know that has a challenging friend, like a one that like, really gets to the asking the hard questions with them, there's always challenges in that relationship. Always. There's never like there's never like there's not 100% safety in that relationship. There's not 100% like support, truth, honesty. Like I feel like there are other ways to be intimate with people that don't cause so much strife. Like I'm really trying to figure a way that somebody would be able to like I don't know, I can't picture it because I've never been able to see.
If there's not trust and safety and loyalty, that's not an intimate relationship. That's a toxic relationship. That's where you're acting. They're lacking the very qualities that it takes to have an intimate relationship. And within the boundaries of that emotional attachment and investment is honesty, openness, support, trust. Those are
Right.
people who are in a toxic relationship who are acting like they're friends. So whoever that is. So if you think about all the people who think that they've got this great level of friendship, do they have openness, honesty, mutual support? Because if they
No.
don't,
No, they don't.
then it's a toxic friendship.
Dang. This is crazy. This actually makes so much sense. This actually makes so much sense because those friendships don't seem like those friendships have okay. Oh, this. Those friendships that I have seen that I thought were intimate, that were actually toxic, have turned me away from wanting to be intimate with friends, wanting to have intimate friendship. Because I have seen people that say that they do have intimate friendship and it looks awful. It looks so awful. And I don't want anything close to that. Like there's so much bad stuff in the friendship and I don't want that. That's why I think I am that's why to automatically being frustrating, challenging, explosive because that's what I'm used to in my friendships. So that's a really, really interesting point, and I have a follow-up question, which is, let's take me and Sarah, for example. I do always look like you're about to laugh at me. Let's take me and Sarah, for example. We are, as we've defined now, close friends. We have a close friendship, and it's like we're on the grounds for maybe potentially getting to an intimate friendship. What has to change? Like, does Sarah have to sit me down and say, why won't you finish this project you've been working on for a year? And I say, let me think of an answer because I want to I want to have intimate friendship. Like, what do we have to do to get to that point?
I think what you and Sarah should do is read the book Boundaries together. I think that would be a fun read for both of you if you read the book Boundaries. And that gives you need definitions. You need to know, before we can do anything, we need to know what the definitions are. And so that's why I think it's important for you and Sarah, if you really want to move this relationship from close to intimate, for instance, you need to know what it would take. That means setting the appropriate boundaries. and knowing
Mhm.
the different kind of friendships and what it takes to maintain that level of friendship. And right now, it sounds like you guys are doing well on accident because you're just doing friendship the way that you're used to doing it. But both of you need to understand, as we all do, what it means to be be in an intimate friendship. Before we can go there, you just can't say, "Well, we're going to be intimate friends. Let's figure that out." No, you have to set the boundaries of what it means to have support and to have openness and talk about weaknesses for real and your fears and your strengths and the things that you think are important in life. And I think the misconception that you have, Bailie, is that you think that when you go from close to intimate, that all of a sudden you're going to be butting heads all the time.
Yeah.
And
Or not
that's
having
not what
fun.
no, that's not what I'm asking you to do. My boundary when I was growing up in high school is that I had to be home by 12 o'clock a.m. My mom let me stay out that late. Some of my friends got to stay out later. Some of them got to stay out not as late. My boundary was 12 o'clock a.m., so I knew I can go to the football game. I can hang out with my buddies. I can go to the In-N-Out Burger. But I got to be walking in my door at 11:59. It gave me freedom. I needed
Mhm.
those boundaries. Like, I didn't know it then. I was upset. Mom, why couldn't you be like this mom who let her kids stay out till whenever he wanted? It didn't matter. My parents gave me boundaries, and I'm using that as an example that everybody can relate with for the most part.
Right.
If you've been in high school before, your parents have given you that boundary. They've either given you a strict boundary at 9 p.m. They've given you an okay boundary, I would say. Yeah, I'm just making my own definition here at 12 a.m. I had a friend his parents didn't care when he came in. But those are boundaries, and we all have to live within our boundaries. Friendships are the same way. Once we establish the new boundaries, then it allows for freedom. That's why when you move out of your parents' house after high school or college or whatever, there's new boundaries set. When
Mhm.
you get married, you're going to have new boundaries set with your family. You have siblings that have spouses, there's new boundaries. Because when you make changes in your life, any kind of relationship or friendship, there's always changes and boundaries. So what I'm saying for you and Sarah is you have to define those boundaries. You haven't even defined the boundaries now, but I'm
No.
telling you from what I'm hearing you say and what I've heard you say over the past several months or whatever. By my definition, you ladies are very close friends. If you want to be deeper, because it sounds like you have great conversations, but there's no boundary set around those conversations, so they never go anywhere. That's why you only get 2%. And getting 2%
Right.
isn't bad. You're in a great spot in a close friendship. It sounds to me like, and I'm just speculating here. I'm making all this stuff up now,
You're
right?
doing a
Because
pretty good job.
I don't know anything, but I would say that now you have to decide, do I want to risk the friendship to go deeper? And that's the scary part.
Why does it have to be a risk? Why can't it be something that is safe and it's like fun, it's safe and it's like, all good? Why does it have to be so risky?
It doesn't have to be. So why are you trying to get 2% better? Why does it matter? Why are you talking about these things? Because you obviously don't want to get better. So just stop having those conversations. Sarah should stop asking those questions. You're not going to do anything because you don't have any friends in your life who can do that. I'll give you a real life example.
I'm ready.
When you wanted to come swim in my group, and I said, do not come swim in my group. You do not want this challenge. You don't want it. You've got the talent. You can get better, Bailie, but you don't want it. Yes, Mo, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be all in. And I said, do not come over to my group. You do not want it. You do not want to move. You don't want to move that boundary. You're having too much fun. Keep having fun with Angel. You ladies are having a great time. She came over to my group for like half a practice for one set one time. I was like, that was fun. I'm out of here, right? And I said,
That
don't
girl's
do
so
it.
funny.
And what did you do? The next day, you showed up in my lane, and I looked down and I said, are you serious? And you just looked up at me and smiled, and I was like, okay, you're choosing the boundary. I'm not. I was fine with the boundaries we had, and you ended up breaking records, personal bests, all that kind of stuff, not because of anything I did. You decided to switch the boundary and raise the stakes on yourself.
Mm.
But you wanted to do that. And for right now, you don't want to get 3% better. You're fine at
Right.
2%, and that's okay. But if you really want to get better, then yes, somebody, whether it's Sarah or somebody else, is going to have to take up that mantle in a relationship with you. I've yet to see that intimate friendship in your life.
And I want to I have a question because I feel like people are similar to me and say that they want that kind of friendship and then they don't really want what comes with that. Because I feel like it's unfair for Sarah. I feel like it's kind of a lose-lose for Sarah because unfortunately, sorry Sarah.
This is not a good friendship for Sarah. She needs to get out now. Sarah, if you're listening, get out now.
Because I feel like if she pushes me harder, well, not that she pushes me harder. Let's say that reverse psychology works on me. Classic. Let's say that she does that on me. Because, okay, this is what, let me start over. I'm upset whether I'm at 2% or whether I'm at 95. I'm angry. I'm always angry. There's never rest in my heart because at 2%, I know I should be at 105% already. And at 105%, it's not perfect. It's not my best. It's not like if I swam with you for 8 weeks. Of course, I'm like happy that of course I'm happy that I broke my record. Of course. But of course there's always something in the back of my head that's like, well, what if you did that for the 4 years? Then what would have happened? There's never rest in like my mind. So for poor Sarah, she's over here trying to I'm telling her to bring me to a standard that I don't even know if that's going to make me happy or satisfied. Or I feel like that's why I don't want friends to be in that situation because I don't even know what I really want. Of course, I really want to create this clothing brand and like be successful with my designs and all this stuff. You know, it kind of feels safe at the 2% because no one really sees anything yet. But I also feel so upset at the 2% because no one really sees anything yet. So it's such an interesting thing for I feel like a lot of people like myself who they don't want to put their friends in a bad spot because if you want the friendship to continue well, you don't want friendships to explode. But I don't think we know how. I don't know how to allow somebody to take that spot and me not get so mad at them because I don't even have rest. So I think that's like I don't even know how to.
What I'm saying is you need to bring somebody along like Sarah, like somebody else, and have these conversations with them. Because just in this conversation, you've gone from my friendships are so great. I love exactly where I'm at, to all of a sudden you're like, I'm mad at everything. I'm mad at 5%.
That's so
I'm mad
true.
at 50%. So you're already thinking it. What I'm saying is you need to invite anybody, not anybody, but somebody who earns that to be able to have the kind of conversations that we have. You know, a young female Gen Z friend who can walk the road with you on a daily basis. And yes, that's scary because those people know you. The intimate friends know us. And because of that, it makes us feel upset. It makes us feel shamed. It makes us feel like we need to do better. And if we want to get better, we need those kind of friends that can help us feel safe. I love what you said about we want to feel safe and we want to feel loved and supported. Yes, but that doesn't mean that we just have to keep a surface level or even a close level of friendship. What is it going to take to let somebody break through that ceiling to have that kind of
I
friendship?
know. You
Did.
talk to a lot of like 20-year-old something people. Do you feel like a lot of people are leaning towards this side of things? Or do you feel like a lot of people lean towards like too much vulnerability? What do you see like in our generation?
Yeah. When I look at your generation, at my generation, at my parents' generation, I see this. 90% of people are insecure. The other 10% just feel really bad about themselves, which means everybody's dealing with insecurity. Everybody's dealing with something that is not good enough or something they want to be different. Everybody is dealing with hurt. Everybody has these deep, dark demons that they are dealing with.
Hmm.
We need intimate friends to walk with us through that, because when we get through those deep valleys, when we get out of the valleys and we make it to the mountaintop, then those people that are there with us, they can help us define that and also celebrate it with us that we made it there. So yeah, I think that a majority of young people want to get better. They have dreams, they have aspirations, they have projects that they want to do. But the project is Mo, the project is Bailie. And it's not about wanting to do something or to get somewhere. It's not the destination, right? Don't forget the journey for the destination.
I hate the
Find
process.
the find the people that want to be on the journey with you, that will embrace the process of getting better. And I bet you, even if you explored that question with Sarah or any number of friends that you've been close with or will be close with in the future, give it a chance for those people to move to the intimate friendship status. I'm not saying they have to be. I've worked really hard for my inner circle over the years, really hard.
Hmm.
And I've had a lot of heartbreak and a lot of things that I should have done, and a lot of victories and a lot of failures and a lot of people that I wish would have been on the journey with me, but just kind of fell off because of whatever. But I kept going. And so now I have an inner circle. I have people who have made it to the intimate friendship status. And it's not all doom and gloom and Mo, why aren't you doing this or doing that? In fact, those people, they don't have to say that. It's already spoken. I have different levels of relationships all over the place, all over the world with people of different ages, but we all should have at least a couple people in that intimate friendship category. And so I would like that for you.
How do you know when you have enough people? Are you saying like now when you meet people that you connect with and you don't want to become intimate with them on a friendship level because you already have enough of those? Like, are you good? Are you like done with the intimate friends? How do you know that everything is being covered? Are you still looking for intimate friendships?
Because I do have such a great inner circle of friendships of men and women at all levels who have been walking the journey with me. I'm always on the lookout for close friends. I think when I meet somebody, the acquaintances and kind of those casual friends, I like speaking into people's lives and encouraging them. For the casual friends, that's where it's easy for me to encourage. And being a chaplain in the Army, being a pastor, being a swim coach, I've got a lot of casual friends, and my job is to be a cheerleader. I love that.
Mhm.
Every now and again, somebody will make the close friend category with me. But you're right. I've got such a great inner circle. I don't really have room for another intimate friendship right now. I don't. The few intimate friendships that I have, they've been there. I think the least amount of time has been
Jeez, that's crazy. That's
that's the
amazing.
least. And I'm not saying that those intimate friendships will continue, but they
Mhm.
have. But that's because we've set boundaries and I work at those relationships. Most people right now, Bailie, we're talking about getting one intimate friend for you.
Literally.
If you can find one intimate friendship, it will change your life. Once you find one, then you'll find another. because you'll know what it means to set those boundaries. And then you might
Wow.
get another. And then if you're really lucky, you might have a few, like I have. And I love it.
It seems great. I'm excited. I'm
Well,
really excited.
yeah, I'm excited too. Do this.
Let's hope I
Have
don't
a conversation.
let's hope I don't have another friend that explodes. That's my biggest fear. Poor
But
Sarah.
usually that's why friendships explode, because somebody comes to an impasse. Somebody wants more of an intimate friendship, and the other one's like, nah. You happen to usually be the one, Bailie, that's nah. So what would it be if you started having conversations with somebody like Sarah or any number of close friends that you have
Mhm.
and say, what would it be to change the boundaries of our relationship and move our friendship from being close friends to intimate friends? That's why you need to read the book. And you and Sarah might have a great conversation and might not end up moving into the intimate friendship piece of the relationship, but that will set you both up for having an intimate friendship sometime down the road.
Mhm.
It can only help you.
Totally.
So yes, you have, the short answer is you have to be intentional with all your relationships and look for these opportunities. What we did tonight is just help you set up for conversations about what it would mean for both you and Sarah to have an intimate friendship. Maybe not with each
Mhm.
other even,
Mhm.
but to have one.
Wow. I'm truly mind blown. I guess in closing, to use your words, that's
Yeah, what
something
did
that
you
I really
learn?
learned.
Give me
I
something you really
really
learned.
learned a lot tonight.
Speak to
I
the
would
audience.
say it sounds like when you are getting closer to close friendship with one another, you feel like you should always need to ask permission from people when you're trying to move to the next level, whatever direction you're trying to get moving forward in your friendship, relationship, whatever. There has to be that question or that intentional conversation about kind of moving to the next step, like DTR, honestly, like for friendships, because I've been the person to go too far. And now this person's mad at me because I gave my opinion way too quickly and now they can't stand me. It's totally fair. And then I've also been on the other side of that where, I want to get deeper with somebody and it doesn't seem like they want that with me. So I feel like, but I was just assuming that was not something that they said out loud. They probably just thought I was the same as them, just being like fun. You have to ask people permission to get closer to them. And I think that is something I'm learning is really important for me because when people move too quickly or do things without intentionally telling me, I get really sus. I get really like, back off. Like, that's not what I want you to be doing at all. It's like you're not on the same level. There's not clear communication. So that's really important in friendship. You guys both have to be on the same page if you want to move forward into like it's literally like boyfriend girlfriend DTR. If the guy hates you and doesn't want to be your boyfriend, it's not going to move any further. So, and I feel like you have to be okay with their answer. You have to be okay with their answer if they just want to be fun and friendly. I think that's something that I'm learning has been difficult with me because I have only wanted to have like fun conversations with people and they want to take it to a deeper level and I don't want to. And I think that's why it makes me upset because they haven't earned the trust or the safety piece yet. So why would I even go there with you on the intimate level? Sure, you may think that we have. To the natural eye, it may seem like we have a really deep relationship, but according to your standards and according to the book boundaries, we're just casual friends, and I don't want to go to the intimate level with you. So I think I've learned you don't really learn to guard your heart when it comes to friendships. You learn that phrase is super rampant in like Christian dating and like the relational love portion of things, but I never really thought about that when it came to friendships. And it's just as important, if not more, because I have had best friends who I thought were on that intimate level with me And vice versa. I have broken friends' hearts, like shattered because of decisions I've made. And because I thought that we were in a different category than we were, and or that they needed something that they didn't, or vice versa. And there was no clear communication. We were on different pages. So I think that's something you can't just assume things about your friends because it's probably going to be wrong. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for listening to definitely sounded like a therapy session, but maybe we all need one of those sometimes. And thank you so much, Mo, for walking through this with us. Until next time.